What's good, YouTube? Sensational Sincere's here, and I'm back with another Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video. We're here for October 2nd, 2020's Vendor Reset. So let's get right into this to see what we got good for this week. Okay, so for our first gear items, you want to head over to Camp Hudson. Here, the weapons vendor has a Model 700 with a gear score of 277. It has 150% headshot damage, and the talents it has is Disciplined, Predatory, and Elevated. For our next gear items, we're still at Camp Hudson. Head over to the gear vendor here, and we got a Spec Ops pack with the talent Relentless on there. It has a gear score of 267. The armor is 1,299. This roll for electronics 1,139. And the attributes it has is crit damage and burn resistance. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 7.50% mobile cover health. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the meat locker. Here, the weapons vendor has a classic M60 with a gear score of 265. It has 21% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents it has is brutal, prepared, and self-preserved. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the base operations. Here, the Dark Zone gear vendor has a tactical pack with the talent Inventive on there. It has a gear score of 267. The armor is 1,193. Its roll for firearms 1,129. And the attributes this has is skill power and burn resistance. I'll mention this because I'm here. We also got a prototype performance mod with 5% smart cover duration. For our next gear items, we're still at the base operations. Head over to the weapons vendor, and here we got a small grip with 18% crit hit damage, 4.50% reload speed, and 2.50% stability. For our next gear items, we're still at the base operations. Head over to the gear vendor, and here we got some operator gloves with the talent Savage on there. They have a gear score of 264. The armor is 857. Its roll for electronics 1,176, and the attributes we have here is skill haste, SMG damage, and health on kill. For our next gear items, we're still at the base operations. Head over to the advanced weaponry vendor, and here we got a Solcom Scar L with a gear score of 278. It has 19% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is Ferocious, Unforgiven, and Skilled. Also here we got a Paratrooper SVD with a gear score of 280. It has 160% headshot damage, and the talents it has is Dominant, Competent, and Disciplined. Also here we got a heavy magazine spring with 5% reload speed, 4% crit hit damage, and 10.90% rate of fire. Also here we got a Omega Rifle Suppressor with 18% headshot damage, 4% crit hit damage, and 3% crit hit chance. For our next gear items, we're still at the base operations. Head over to the special equipment vendor, and here we got a Historian with a gear score of 264. It has 158% headshot damage, and the talents it has is Meticulous, Vicious, and Historian repeats. Also here we got a Cassidy with a gear score of 262. It has 325% stagger, and the talents it has is Deadly, Meticulous, and Boomstick. Also here we got a Pecan. If you like this weapon, it has a gear score of 275. It has 19% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents it has is Vicious, Ferocious, and Pecan. Also here we got a classic RPK 74 with a gear score of 266. It has 20% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents it has is Self-Preserved, Prepared, and Ferocious. Also here we got an operator vest with the talent Rapid on there. It has a gear score of 273. The armor is 1,875. Its roll for electronics 1,179. And the attributes this has is skill haste, health on kill, and ammo capacity. Also here we got a tactical pack with the talent Inventive on there. It has a gear score of 264. The armor is 1,138. Its roll for firearms 1,115. And the attributes this has is crit damage and bleed resistance. Also here we got some tactical gloves with the talent Savage on there. They have a gear score of 275. The armor is 991. Its roll for electronics 1,127. And the attributes this has is health on kill, enemy armor damage, and crit hit damage. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 2% post crit hit chance. Also here we got an extended magazine with 119.50% magazine size, 4% crit hit damage, and 5.40% rate of fire. Also here we got a Tyrant Suppressor with 7% crit hit chance, 2% accuracy, and 4.50% optimal range. For our next gear items, we're still at the base operations. Head over to the special blueprints vendor, and here we got a First Wave PF45 blueprint with a gear score of 256. We also got an electronics vest blueprint with a gear score of 256. We also got some stamina knee pad blueprint with a gear score of 256. And we also got a high velocity magazine blueprint with a power level 34. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the cavern. Here the gear vendor has a Spec Ops mask with the talent Rehabilitated on there. It has a gear score of 263. The armor is 865. Its roll for electronics 1,130. And the attributes this has is skill power and burn resistance. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 6% first aid self-heal. For our next gear items, you want to head over to Camp Clinton. Here, the special equipment vendor has a Cassidy with a gear score of 281. It has 313% stagger, and the talents it has is Adept, Destructive, and Boomstick. Also here we have a Liberator with a gear score of 275. It has 21% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is Talented, Prepared, and Ferocious. Also here we got an MP5 ST with a gear score of 266. It has 22% crit hit chance, and the talents it has is Vicious, Sustained, and Deadly. Also here we got a G36 Enhanced with a gear score of 273. It has 22% enemy armor damage, and the talents it has is Ferocious, Adept, and Focused. Also here we got a Super 90 with a gear score of 279. It has 340.50% stagger, and the talents it has is Competent, Destructive, and Capable. Also here we got a Model 700 with a gear score of 261. It has 154% headshot damage, and the talents it has is Adept, Capable, and Elevated. Also here we got a custom L86A2 with a gear score of 277. It has 22% damage to targets out of cover, and the talents it has is Ferocious, Destructive, and Talented. Also here we got an Operator Mask with the talent Enduring on there. It has a gear score of 280. The armor is 934. Its roll for firearms 1,269, and the attributes this has is all resistance and damage to elites. Also here we got a Spec Ops armor with the talent Reckless on there. It has a gear score of 263. The armor is 1,751. Its roll for firearms 1,131, and the attributes this has is health on kill, and increased kill XP. Also here we got an Operator pack with the talent Relentless on there. It has a gear score of 270. The armor is 1,300. Its roll for firearms 1,117, and the attributes this has is skill power and bleed resistance. Also here we got some Operator gloves with the talent Savaged on there. They have a gear score of 273. The armor is 918. Its roll for firearms 1,262, and the attributes this has is crit damage, assault rifle damage, and health on kill. Also here we got a prototype electronics mod with 258 electronics and 2.50% exotic damage resilience. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 6.50% turret health. Also here we got a heavy magazine spring with 11.50% magazine size, 5% reload speed, and 10.80% rate of fire. Also here we got a Tyrant Suppressor with 7.50% crit hit chance, 5.50% headshot damage, and 4.50% optimal range. For our next gear items, we're still at Camp Clinton. Head over to the special blueprints vendor, and here we got an MG5 blueprint with a gear score of 256. We also got an electronics knee pad blueprint with a gear score of 256. We also got a quick release magazine blueprint with a power level 34. And also we got a vertical grip foliage green blueprint with a power level 34. For our next gear items, you want to head over to Dante's Run. Here the gear vendor has an Operator pack with the talent Relentless on there. It has a gear score of 271. The armor is 1,276. Its roll for electronics 1,136, and the attributes this has is crit damage and ammo capacity. Also here we got a prototype stamina mod with 183 stamina and 3% damage to elites. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 6.50% ballistic shield health. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to the Wolf's Den. Here the weapons vendor has a Lova C with a gear score of 261. It has 18% enemy armor damage, and the talents this has is self-preserved, responsive, and deadly. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to Autumn Taupe. Here the gear vendor has a Spec Ops mask with the talent Enduring on there. It has a gear score of 282. The armor is 987. Its roll for firearms 1,256, and the attributes this has is all resistance and burn resistance. For our next gear items, you want to head over to Madison's Stand. Here the gear vendor has a prototype stamina mod with 248 stamina and 1% crit hit chance. I know the stamina is kind of low, but I'm mentioning it because I know some people have been asking for this type of mod. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the Last Call. Here the weapons vendor has a Police UMP 45 with a gear score of 266. It has 20.50% crit hit chance, and the talents it has is Swift, Adept, and Ambusher. And also here we got a Steady magazine with 119.50% magazine size, 4% crit hit damage, and 4.50% reload speed. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to the Ward. Here the gear vendor has a tactical mask with the talent Tenacious on there. It has a gear score of 262. The armor is 889. Its roll for firearms 1,173. And the attributes this has is enemy armor damage and burn resistance. For our next gear items, you want to head over to the Southpaw. Here the gear vendor has an Operator pack with the talent Specialized on there. It has a gear score of 266. The armor is 1,178. Its roll for firearms 1,227. And the attributes this has is stability and disrupt resistance. And also here we got a prototype electronics mod with 262 electronics and 2,976 skill power. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to West 31st Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 6% sticky bomb explosion radius. And also here we got a rugged mini reflex sight with 7% created chance, 2% accuracy, and 5% optimal range. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to West 34th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a Paratrooper SVD with a gear score of 272. It has 143% headshot damage, and the talents it has is adept, cool-headed, and disciplined. Also here we got a prototype electronics mod with 251 electronics and 3,263 health. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to West 39th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has a tactical mask with the talent Tenacious on there. It has a gear score of 269. The armor is 979. Its roll for electronics 1,160. And the attributes this has is skill power and increased kill XP. And also here we got a prototype stamina mod with 251 stamina and 3,068 skill power. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to West 42nd Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a tactical vest with the talent Vigorous on there. It has a gear score of 278. The armor is 1,872. Its roll for stamina 1,254. And the attributes this has is exotic damage resilience, health, and ammo capacity. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 4.50% support station healing speed. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to West 46th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype firearms mod with 255 firearms and 1% created chance. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to West 53rd Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a small grip with 18% created damage, 2.50% stability, and 2% accuracy. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to East 64th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone gear mod vendor has a prototype firearms mod with 266 firearms and 3,223 skill power. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 3.50% seeker mine damage. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to East 61st Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone weapon mod vendor has a C79 scope with 17% created damage, 5.50% headshot damage, and 4.50% optimal range. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to East 58th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has a Spec Ops pack with the talent Inventive on there. It has a gear score of 266. The armor is 1,248. Its roll for stamina 1,117. And the attributes this has is stability and bleed resistance. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to East 40th Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 4% mobile cover damage resilience. And then also here we got an SR7 suppressor with 17% created damage, 2.50% accuracy, and 6% headshot damage. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to East 31st Street checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has some operator gloves with the talent Savage on there. They have a gear score of 268. The armor is 967. Its roll for electronics 1,169. And the attributes this has is shotgun damage, critted chance, and health on kill. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 3.50% ballistic shield damage. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to the 5th Ave checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a M870 Express with a gear score of 274. It has 345.50% stagger. And the talents this has is competent, deadly, and meticulous. Also here we got some operator gloves with the talent Savage on there. They have a gear score of 276. The armor is 966. Its roll for electronics 1,222. And the attributes this has is LMG damage, critted chance, and health on kill. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to DZ2 safe room. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has a Spec Ops armor with the talent Rapid on there. It has a gear score of 265. The armor is 1,784. Its roll for stamina 1,145. And the attributes this has is all resistance, health on kill, and ammo capacity. Also here we got a tactical pack with the talent Specialized on there. It has a gear score of 267. The armor is 1,138. Its roll for electronics 1,242. And the attributes this has is health and bleed resistance. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to DZ3 safe room. Here the Dark Zone weapons vendor has a First Wave Vector 45 ACP with a gear score of 275. It has 19% crit hit chance. And the talents this has is destructive, self-preserved, and unforgiving. And also here we got a Surplus SVD with a gear score of 266. It has 154% headshot damage. And the talents this has is unforgiving, capable, and disciplined. For our next gear items, we're going to head over to DZ5 Safe Room. Here the Dart Zone Weapon Mod Vendor has a heavy magazine spring with 12% magazine size, 4.50% reload speed, and 9.50% rate of fire. And then also we got a loud vent brake with 17% crit hit damage, 5.50% headshot damage, and 2.50% crit hit chance. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to DZ8 Safe Room. Here the Dart Zone Gear Vendor has an operator vest with the talent Vigorous on there. It has a gear score of 271. The armor is 1,821. Its roll for stamina 1,204. And the attributes it has is health and skill haste and increased kill XP. Also here we got a Spec Ops pack with the talent Specialized on there. It has a gear score of 273. The armor is 1,292. Its roll for electronics 1,186. And the attributes it has is stability and bleed resistance. For our next gear items, you're going to head over to DZ9 Safe Room. Here the Dart Zone Weapon Mod Vendor has an extended magazine with 113% magazine size, 5% reload speed, and 3% crit hit chance. Also here we got a Mega Rifle Suppressor with 17.50% headshot damage, 2% accuracy, and 4% crit hit damage. And also here we got a 5.52 hollow sight with 7% crit hit chance, 2.50% stability, and 4% crit hit damage. Alright everybody, that's it for our Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video for October 2nd, 2020. I hope everybody tuned into it, found something that they needed. Smash on that sub and like button, y'all. I appreciate that support. Check me out on Twitch. I stream on there sometimes. And if y'all want to, y'all can come through and check me out on Instagram and Twitter. And I appreciate that support, y'all. And I'll see y'all with the next one. Take care. Peace.